Hello YouTube, we are doing a review today on the Tsunami hull that I had built at the end of 2018. Tsunami boats are based out of East Tamaki in Auckland, New Zealand, and the boat I had built is a 5-meter pontoon boat, and I'm going to run through some of the things that I had them do, the extra bits and pieces, and also the fit out that I did myself of the entire boat, electrically and mechanically. As I said, I had the boat built at 5 meters long, and I had them widen the hull by 100 millimeters, which gave me an internal measurement of 1800 millimeters. I also got the handrails built right around the boat and all over the console for safety's sake. Here you can see the inside of the boat. I put a bar behind the driver for support, which has been an absolute godsend in the rough stuff. When I'm out fishing, I put a 100 litre chili bin behind the bar, and in here we put the fish, and it also becomes seating while fishing. Along the side you will also see the mounts for the Railblazer system, which I put all my fishing rod holders and bait boards on. This boat can fish 4 people comfortably, and we've got a bait board on each side of the boat at midships, so that we don't have to clamber over each other to get to the bait board. Each fisherman gets 2 fishing rod holders each, and we can do this quite comfortably. The reason I chose the Railblazer system is so that we can do things like this, where I've combined a fishing rod holder mount plus the cleat all in one fitting. The engine was purchased new in September 2019. It's a Mercury 90 horsepower 2-stroke. I have also fitted an 18 pitch stainless steel prop and 5 degree motor wedges, which seems to give this boat an amazing ability to get out of the hole. This is mounted to a live bait tank. There is duck boards which are standard fitment. The transom is a 5mm aluminium, and the hull is 6mm aluminium. The steering on this is hydraulic, which I will go into a little bit more depth at the end of the video. The reason behind getting the boat widened was to accommodate my center console design and still have plenty of room to move around on the boat. Now you may wonder why the steering wheel is not centered in the console, and the reason for this is because I always drive with one hand on the steering wheel and one hand on the binnacle, so it really is solely for my comfort. It has a proper twin battery system with circuit breakers throughout, and everything is fused. The navigation is a Garmin 65CV. The fuel tank is accommodated under the queen seat, which is at the front of the center console. This is an enclosed area with vents, so as not to risk any potential sparks from the batteries mixing with the fumes from the fuel. The 6 kg Rockner just stays sitting on the bow roller the whole time, and this is connected to a Maxwell drum winch. It has 10 meters of 6mm chain and 150 meters of 6mm Dyneema rope. The 3-person rear seat is welded to the transom, so that gives it extra strength, and as you can see, the little extra bar that I've added to avoid anything like tackle boxes or the like from damaging the bilge pump. The front seat is positioned so that 2 people can fish while facing backwards, and both of them have a place to rest their backs while fishing. Now the last thing to talk about is the roof. I got the roof made out of aluminium so I could store all my oars and my boat hooks and bits and pieces up there like that. I also store up there the bait boards and the rod holders when they're not in use as well. The roof has a navigation lights fitted up there, and also the rocket launcher. So that's the fit out. I feel that I've done a reasonable job of fitting out, but there's a couple of things that I would have done a little bit differently. For example, I spoke earlier about the hydraulic steering on it. I would highly recommend that you never buy Wiltshire hydraulic steering. They did replace the first unit after it was unable to turn in one direction when we first fitted it. However, The second one has been leaking through their seals right from day one, and I've decided to cut my losses, and I'm going to go to a more reputable brand, but definitely never Wiltshire hydraulic steering again. Railblazer, well, with Railblazer I went with that system because we've got some land over on Cowo Island which we go to and from with building materials and camping equipment, and you name it, we cart it. So it's not just a fishing boat. That's why I went with the Railblazer system, and I think it works fantastically. The problem with Railblazer is definitely going to be price. Everything you buy costs at least 20 bucks, and by the time you've bought all of those different fittings, you are definitely going to be going through a fair bit of money. But if you can justify the reasoning behind the Railblazer system like I can, I definitely recommend it. Maxwell anchor winch and the Rockner anchor, highly recommend that. I can do all of my anchor down and anchor back up simply from behind the console. I don't have to get out from behind that. It is very important, I believe, to learn how to do the emergency release if you did need to do it. However, at this point I haven't needed to do it. It's just worked like a charm the whole way through. So fantastic, highly recommend that product. Now I went for a center console because of all of the different things I do. There's a lot of different sorts of boating that I do, and typically when I go fishing I want to have some space from the other guys that are on the boat. So that's one of the reasons I went with the center console. Another reason I went with the center console is because I also go fishing by myself, and with the design of everything down the middle, I've got a super stable boat. Right, so the Tsunami brand. The Tsunami guys were absolutely fantastic right throughout the build. They were definitely very willing to give me quotes before I actually got any work done, and during the build there was a couple of times where I actually went up to them and asked them to change what I'd actually asked them to do in the first place, and they were very accommodating. They changed it and got it all going in the way that I wanted. There has been one problem with the hull, but in saying that, as soon as I rang them up they told me to get it into them and they fixed it free of charge, all under warranty. So I cannot ask for any better than that. The things I do with this boat, I really do put it through its paces. I take it over the Port Waikato bar. I take it over quite a few bars actually. I take it out of some pretty big stuff, and I'll also go right up rivers, Puhoi River, Maharangi River, Matakana River, Omaha River. I've done them all, and with its really shallow draft I can get up those rivers, but also with the fact that it's got that nice V on it, I can go across the breakers at the Port Waikato bar without a problem. So the hull is great, it does everything I ask for it. The downside of the hull, well, there's not too many to be honest. One thing I would, because there's always a negative, one thing I would probably say is some of the welds, not all of them, but some of the welds leave a little bit to be desired as far as the look of them. But in saying that, everything is fantastic. So I really highly recommend it. Value for money, very recommended.